Hey, college wrestling fans, it's JT1 Wrestle here, and we are going to be doing a part two. Yesterday, we saw our picks for NCAA Division III Dark Horse and Sleepers 125 pounds through 174 pounds. So, once again, please welcome Coach Anthony and Coach G as we talk about our Sleepers and Dark Horses for 184 through heavyweight. I'm going to start things off real quick with my pick at 184 pounds. So I'm going to be going with a guy from Chicago, and this guy is originally from Palo Alto, California, the same place that um, just the names just left my head. They're really famous brothers, Olympians, and I just had their name in my head. The Schultz brothers, Mark and David Schultz, are from Palo Alto, California. You know, last year he did not have a great regional. He ended up not placing at regionals, but to let you know how good this guy is and how good he can be, he was fourth at Pete Wilson, and he was also second in the University Athletic Association tournament. Talking about Cade Creighton. He also had a 5-1 win over qualifier Vincenzo Corvetto, as well as a 10-4 win over Gavin Cole. So I think that Creighton could do very well this year, including not only being a qualifier, but also being an All American.
Yeah, that's definitely a nice resume to have right there. Now this one is I'm gonna go back out west. There's a few names that come to mind at 184, but I'm definitely gonna go out west here. And the one I'm gonna talk about here is from Wisconsin Eau Claire, Niall Schoenfelder. He was preseason number one last year. He took third in the country back in 2024. Now, last season definitely did not have the season that anyone thought. He has fought injuries kind of throughout his entire career. He was unseeded the year he took third in the country at 184. Be interested to see if he's healthy and can get back on track because I think this guy is definitely a national champ contender with obviously a third place NCAA finish. Last year, he had to medical forfeit out of the regional tournament. But this guy is the real deal for sure.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna, give a shout out to me and Anthony's former stomping grounds. This is Jesse Orban out of Waynesburg. He had 40 plus wins last year, wrestled pretty much the whole season at 84, dropped at regionals at 74. So he'll be in the mix at 74 and 84. Solid athlete. Actually started his career as a dual sport athlete as well. He was football and wrestling, then just decided to focus on wrestling. Expect big things out of him this year, at whatever weight he goes. He's kind of the face of that program right now, trying to, build that program back up to its glory days. But yeah, Jesse Orban out of Waynesburg University.
Very, very good picks there. At 197 pounds, I have got two picks here real quick. One of them I'm going to go with will be Casey Aikman of North Central, another California kid, had 27 wins last year, had a very impressive third place finish at Pete Wilson, was the Collegiate Conference of Illinois and Wisconsin champion. He majored All-American Ian Pepple 18 to 10. And he also had an 8-3 decision over Blood Round DJ Henry. Aikman was in a very tough regional last year, ended up getting, that dreaded, I mean, obviously, Gennaro knows all about it, that dreaded fourth place finish at regionals last year. Aikman's one of those guys. He's a big, strong kid, and when he seems to be focused, he seems that I wouldn't go as far as saying being able to beat anybody, but I would go as far as saying that he's somewhere in the top eight as far as how talented he is. Another kid I'm really excited about at 197 pounds was actually a reserve, was a backup last year. He was behind Ben Kozwinski of Wisconsin lacrosse, talking about Casey Gish. Now, Gish is one of those guys, I think, if they can get inside this kid's head and just, have him wrestle at his best, I can see him being one of those. Everybody's like, holy cow, where did this guy come from? Holy cow, we weren't expecting that. He is a former Pete Wilson champion, won the Pete Wilson Invitational back in 2024. And then last year, he had an impressive win over Blood Round DJ Henry by a score of 9-8.
Wait. Um, I'm actually gonna go with a Chicago pick as well. This is Gunnar Garriquez. I believe, hopefully I said that right. He's a senior this year, was a qualifier. And overall, Chicago, I mean, we're talking about sleepers and dark horses. They're definitely a team to keep an eye on for this season. They turn a lot of talent. They have one of the best staffs in the country, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, and I thought they had a really good showing last year at Nationals. And I believe Coach Gentry, he won Rookie Coach of the Year. I can see him winning National Coach of the Year in the future if he keeps doing what he's doing in Chicago. And then obviously he has a great assistant coach in Jason Zertis. Lot of pedigree there. A lot of talent in that room. You know, one of the better D3 schools academically in the country. I only see them going up from here.
Yeah, and I'm going to follow up with another guy who was not the varsity guy last year because he was behind an All-American, and I'm looking at Augsburg here. So Parker Venz was their guy the last few years. Great career for them, but now stepping into the ranks is Ethan Winkleman, and man, what a year he had! Just could not get past Parker Venz, who was the guy last year and had a great career, but uh, Winkleman will for sure be in the mix. Obviously doesn't have the postseason results because he wasn't the starter, but has 3 years eligibility left, and I would expect big things. I believe he finished the year close to 30 wins last year, only 2 losses, and he is someone definitely to keep your eye on. I mean, that's what's so impressive about Augsburg and Wartburg, right? They have guys ready to step in and take over the reign of some really, really high level guys. So definitely keep an eye on him.
You're going to move on to the heavyweight. So last but certainly not least, my pick here is definitely a homer pick for me. Talking about Jonah Clark of Loris. He wrestled for Waco High School, which was the uh, home of the last tournament I ever wrestled in was at Waco High School. So I definitely want to see this guy. I'm sure the Bonaventura brothers would agree with this. You like seeing kids on sort of a personal level doing really well. Clark last year was fourth at regionals. He had a very impressive 16-4 major decision over blood round Logan Flynn. So I think Clark is one of these guys that could have a very good season this year. Probably won't start off the season ranked, but I think within due time, within the first couple of months, should be in that top 20 ranking.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay out in Region 6 here. I do like that Clark pick. I got to see him in our dual meet last year. I thought very athletic, very good Greco background. Having Coach Dow there as well is great for Clark. I think he's going to continue to get better. Kaminsky from Eureka, don't really talk about that program a lot. Newer program in Division Three. They've had some really good guys, and so I'm looking at here. He was in the rankings. I work on the national rankings committee, so definitely saw this guy's name a lot last year, and that's Jacob Kaminsky of Eureka. He lost to Clark in Region 6 and did not qualify last year, but he was in. I'm pretty sure we had him in the top 10. I think pretty much any poll he was in, he was ranked top 10 all last year. Some really, really good wins. So Kaminsky, definitely keep your eye out for him.
Yeah, and then finishing up here, two guys out of the same region. I'm talking about first Miles Johnson of Ohio Northern. He was a D1 transfer, I believe. He started his career at Air Force. Now I don't know if he was actually at Air Force. He was just at the prep, and then ended up coming back to Ohio Northern. Had a really good year, almost 40. He actually right on the dot 40 wins. Was a qualifier. And then another one that kind of exploded onto the scene late is Christian McChesney. He previously wrestled at W&J, and now he's at Baldwin Wallace. So interesting to see how he shakes out there. Those names kind of stick out. And then also, he's not a dark horse. I just think it's a cool story with Austin Cooley from Shriner. He's originally from Texas. Is that correct?
Yeah, did you guys have an opportunity? I actually had him on the show here not too long ago.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it. I just think it's an awesome story. I love seeing new programs, especially Texas, a Texas school, get the kind of national recognition and attention. And he'll be. I'm assuming he's going to be ranked top 5 to start the year, and hopefully they can keep growing off that. But I think that's. I mean, I don't know. Well, I don't know for you guys. I think that's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys already know this, but he actually had a win over Mitch Williamson last year. Williamson only
Yep.
lost one time last year, and that loss was to Cooley. So I
Yeah.
think he's a first ever All-American from a Texas school. As far as D1, D2, D3, pretty sure NJCAA. I
What about
think NAIA.
what about Texas? Texas Wesleyan hasn't had any A's
I
yet.
was going to say NAIA though.
Okay, okay,
I was at
okay,
first talking D1, D2, D3, and
okay.
NJCAA, but I think you're right. I think both Texas Wesleyan as well as Wayland Baptist have both had All-Americans in the
Yep.
NAIA.
Okay. Yeah, and then within the state of Texas, Tarleton State, I believe, is on the rise here soon to be D1. Is that still going? Does anyone really
Yes.
know?
Yeah, I think
So,
it's going a little slower than what we want it to go. I think it's not
yeah.
happening at the pace we want it to happen, but
Yeah.
it is, as far as I've been told, still slowly trucking along.
Nice, yeah. They have a great facility. I've seen pictures of that and everything. But no, it's great. I mean, obviously you think Texas football, and then obviously baseball is big over there. So it's very cool to see. I just love seeing wrestling grow everywhere. So no, this has been fun.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
gee, you
so
you kind of talked off the topic. You had dark horse team. You said you Chicago. I don't know if you looked at any teams, but any teams you think going to be on the rise that you have on catching your eye other than Chicago?
other than Chicago, that is.
I like Adrian. I think Adrian's on the rise. I
Oh
think
yeah,
The
Coach Bell has
Bulldogs.
done. Yeah,
I like that pick. I like that pick.
I think they've done a great job. The other one in my region, SUNY Oneonta, they had a fantastic year, create a really, really good dual meet season. Did not have the postseason they want, but they returned some qualifiers, some fourth place finishers. They got a transfer of multiple time fourth place finisher from Utica, the 33 pounder. Can't think of his name right now, but he's at SUNY Oneonta now. So SUNY Oneonta, I think, is also going to have another really good year.
Yeah, another team, two teams that come to mind for me that I think are going to have pretty good years that used to be very good. Messiah brought in a really good recruiting class. I don't know if you guys
Yep.
have been following. PA State qualifiers, PA State placers, plus they return a lot. I think Messiah. I think they might win that region this year. I think that's how good they'll be. I know TC and J's loaded. They picked up another D1 transfer, and they're gonna be very good. I really like Messiah, and then another school, SUNY Cortland. Maybe can climb the ranks a little bit. They stacked back-to-back recruiting classes together pretty good. Some good New York talent. They returned Centrone, obviously a returning finalist. So it'll be interesting to see how the lineup shakes out. I know they're a little thinner up top than down low, but those two schools come to mind. But yeah, Chicago's definitely a school for me just because of the national tournament they had last year, the staff they have. I haven't really seen any posts about recruits. Have you noticed at
Yeah,
all
I
with
did
that?
see Wrestle Report. Wrestle Report put out one post. They did bring in someone ranked nationally out of the high school ranks for this year.
Chicago did. Chicago
Chicago
did.
did.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, with the academic background at that school, I mean, as you know, it's Stevens. You can kind of snag kids like that.
Yep.
So those are kind of the schools that come to mind for me.
Like the picks of Chicago very much. I had Coach Matt Gentry on the show here a while back, and we kind of talked about the upcoming season, the expectations that he has for his program. Anytime you talk NCAA Division III and you start talking team sleepers and dark horses, pretty much you name anybody that's not Augsburg or Wartburg, you're pretty much
Yeah.
in that category. Johnson and Wales last year made history by co-winning the NCAA Division III title. Finally moving it from somewhere other than Minnesota and Iowa. This is probably not all that much of a dark horse for me, but just for the simple fact that everywhere they lost someone who ran out of eligibility, they replaced him. I think Wisconsin lacrosse is going to have one of their best seasons they've ever had. I really do. I think
Yeah,
the
which
the Eagles are
again,
just so
you
freaking tough.
you can say
Do you
that. I
think
mean,
they're better? You guys think they're better? They're going to be better this year?
Well, yeah, actually, I kind of do. I mean, because
Okay.
if you go through all the, I have I can't tell you the exact dates. I got them written down here somewhere, but I got what I do for NCAA Division III as well as for all the other divisions is I do weight by weight. Okay, so
Uh,
I release my standings. Here are the top guys at each weight class, I think, and Wisconsin lacrosse, yes, you do lose some kids, right? I was talking about losing Ben Kozwinski last year, right? But as
Mhm.
soon as he leaves, Casey Gish goes right into that spot. And you
Uh,
can do that with every single weight class where they lost somebody due to eligibility. They have another super tough kid coming back in. And I think, I've been talking to a lot of D3 coaches lately. I've had a lot of them on my program lately. I think the key to, and you guys are D2 and D3 coaches, we were talking about the key to being successful is making sure in each weight class, every time you have a senior, you have somebody right back there that can back
yeah.
him up just as
Reload,
easily.
baby. Reload. Yep.
Reload. And then also, and this may be something you guys like, or you guys don't like, or you guys are for, you guys are against. Everybody else is. So why not go into that portal and see if there's any D1 kids that aren't happy at D1 who want to go down and compete at D3 or D2? That's another, because if even looking back, like when we were younger, right? And I know sometimes I've gotten in trouble for saying this in the past, but I'm going to say it again because it's the truth. One of the reasons why Wartburg has been as tough as what they are is because they get those kids, the former Iowa State kids and the former Iowa kids that may not have had the seasons they wanted to in D1 going over to D3. And then, I can go back as far as Scott Kaufman. I mean, I was a kid. I was like in seventh or eighth grade when Scott Kaufman came from Iowa to Wartburg and then ended up having a great career at Wartburg. So I think that has a lot to do with how these guys do. And I'm not necessarily
Yeah.
saying that's why or not why, but just to answer taking forever to answer your question, yeah, I think Wisconsin
No,
lacrosse is going
I
to
mean
be
that
very tough this
it's a
year.
fair statement. I mean, I always have a ton of respect for that program. I always think they're really good. I just, with the firepower they're losing, because Michael Douglas, he's done too, right? He was the
Yeah,
Michael
one
Douglas
Douglas
too.
is
graduated.
gone.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean,
Orlandani at 84.
But you
it's
see,
just a lot of
they're
it's just a lot of firepower to reload. But I mean,
yeah, it
lacrosse
definitely
definitely can
is.
do.
Like, I mean, I don't know if they're going to have a national champion at 184. I mean, Marcus Orlandoni is an extremely tough guy to replace, but they got a kid. And God, the head coach told me how to pronounce his name three or four times, but he's a foreign wrestler, Sadiq Abul Dudai or something like that. I
Hmm.
apologize ahead of time for how I'm saying his name because I guarantee I'm butchering it like no other. But he was seventh at Pete Wilson last year. And like I said before, maybe I put too much faith in Pete Wilson. But my opinion is if you can place top eight at Pete Wilson, you are NCAA Division III qualifier material.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, no, no,
well,
you're not
you can
over
look
it.
at I
Pete
mean last
Wilson's
year
legit.
lacrosse had I mean Gerber ended up taking third at 165, but traveling was
Yeah, Leo Draveling.
easily,
Yep.
yep, easily. I mean well, traveling I think was a backup 74 because they had Symes too. I mean you're not wrong. They were like too deep. I'm missing the 65. He was ranked very high, who ended up being behind Garber because Goebel dropped to 57, and he was also very good. I mean, he was easily All-American contender, but couldn't get past Gerber, who took third in the country. And yeah, so it's crazy to say, but yeah, I can definitely see lacrosse. Big date right away. Lacrosse versus Bolden Wallace, November 8th. So we're gonna learn really
Wow.
quick about both programs
Yeah.
in that dual meet. And but man, no, I really appreciate you taking the time to put this stuff together
You bet.
and grow Division III wrestling, just grow all wrestling. So kudos to you, and anytime you want us to jump on, just let us know.
Oh, absolutely. I want to thank you guys once again for being a part of this show today. It's been an absolute pleasure as well as an honor having you on. And like you were saying, passion, love, we all had that for NCAA Division III wrestling. And just can't thank you enough again. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I wish you both success. And I always want to say D3, but we also got to say D2, don't we? So I wish you
Yeah.
Yeah,
success
yeah.
at the
I'm a
yeah,
traitor. I'm a
that's all
traitor,
right.
but
That's okay. Want to wish you guys the best of success this year. Look out for my I have some you know the who's who of wrestling coming out. So hopefully I nailed everybody like I was saying the other night.
yeah, one of those coming out.
So let's see here. I got it written down somewhere. Let's see here. So I'm going to try my best. What I wanted to do today, and I'm not trying to call anybody out, but the University of Iowa, as well as Eureka and Augustana, are the reasons why I didn't post my schedule today because I'm still waiting on them to post their schedules. So that way I can tell everybody where they can find me this year. So let's see
Okay.
here. NCAA Division III will be the week of September 29th through for October 3rd, and then NCAA Division II week will be October 6th through October 10th. Is when
Cool.
I'll start posting those. And again, those are
Sweet.
weight by weight.
Awesome.
So
Well, we appreciate it. We'll share it all up. We'll retweet everything. We'll repost everything.
excellent.
All right.
Excellent. Hopefully I don't say anything bad about your wrestlers. You said what? You know what?
It's all
Alrighty,
good. It's all
guys.
part of the game. Have a good day. See
Yeah,
ya.
See
you too,
ya.
man. Take care.